Hey, 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 everybody out there. How's everybody doing? Well, I decided I'm going to come on here. I'm going to spout a few things because I think a few things need to be spouted. But I'm going to make this sort of a series kind of thing because there's a lot to take. There's a lot to talk about and a lot to to delve into, I guess you would say. Now, if any of you out there are sensitive to anybody speaking of mental illness or substance abuse or anything like that, let me let you know right now that this topic is about mental illness and substance abuse and stuff like that that goes along with that itself. So, first of all, I want to say hello to everybody out there. I usually do this live, but doing this live requires me to maybe make a mistake or two when I'm talking. I'm probably going to do it anyway. Reason I'm here is because for the past couple months, I have been dealing with my own episodes of mental illness, and I figured for me to talk about it and maybe help others is something I would, maybe a healing thing for me, because helping others does make someone feel, feel better about themselves. And so let me get on to what it is I'm going to discuss with you today. We're going to discuss what a mental illness Wendy deals with. And Wendy deals with manic depression, and other words, bipolar disorder. I've had a couple months here where I've dealt with many different things. Mania. A couple months, I think I was in mania for quite some time, not even realizing I was, because all the time it can be unrecognizable. In the symptoms right there that I've dealt with, and there's many symptoms of bipolar disorder on the mania side, are anywhere from grandiose thinking and flight of ideas, impulsiveness, promiscuity. Oh yes, promiscuity is one of them. And basically pressured speech, and pressured speech is huge. When I'm speaking right now is a pretty much normal tone. Okay, now if I were pressured speech, I'd be going like this, and I'd be talking really fast, and I'd be going, repeat yourself, what'd you say? Since January, I worked in customer service on the phone. And when customers start telling you to slow down because you're talking too fast, I don't feel like I'm talking too fast, but I guess I must be, right? So I've had many bouts of anger, irritability, rage, but I, think chalking that up to my job and, stuff like that. Then I would, the flight of ideas start to come through. Also part of being manic is the mean and downright nasty, not so nice things we say to people. And unintentionally, by the way. There's one thing I do not like about that. Losing friends is tough, because some friends and some people can't handle the mental illness itself. And a friend that's going to be with you is one that knows you well, and knows that the things sometimes I do and say aren't meant. Also, opinions. I do have opinions, and sometimes I make an opinion of an argument out of an opinion of mine that could be wrong. But then I'll have to go find research for that opinion because I know I'm right. Sometimes I'm not. But I don't see it that way in that moment. Stress was huge for me over the past couple months. And so I've been dealing a lot with my mental health. Coming down from a manic episode up here, there's always an equal and opposite reaction, and that's depression. And so I did fall there as well. That is a totally not what you think. Bipolar depression is kind of a different creature. I don't sleep all day. You could probably be picturing this, so, sleep all day and, whatever. What it is for me is a relentless energy. It's a relentless energy. It's a restless energy inside that I can't seem to release. So I walk and I pace, but I have no motivation to do anything. No motivation to do much of anything. And so I've been on a bipolar roller coaster for about 2 months. Not even realizing, now that I look back at it though, it's kind of different, but not realizing that's where I was. You start to head downward and you then realize, yeah, I must have been up there and everyone around me saw it but me. And I did lose a friend over it, by the way. And the reason being, I think, first of all, I was stupid enough to argue a point that didn't need to be argued. And I was also probably... That's the thing about friendships. You, like I said before, you can either take it and know and understand that I'm going through this, or it's too much for that person. And I get that both ways. I do. I get and I understand. But we also need to end the stigma of mental illness and the, the things people say. I've been lucky enough to have some good friends, but I don't usually reach out. I'm one to not reach out unless I have one person that I do, and it's very important, I think, to have a support system behind you. And sometimes I feel like I don't have a support system, that I'm going through this alone, that although I know I have this one person that just always asks me how I'm doing. And I think that's very important for, just to ask someone, are you okay? How are you doing? That is very important. So a support system is huge. And some people don't have that support system. So I'm here to talk a little bit about the mental illness. I was diagnosed in my mid-30s, not even realizing, and looking back in hindsight, back in my teens, where I was at. And I look back at that, and then I look back at my girls and my postpartum depression, and I look back at that, and I say, I had it bad. And that postpartum depression wasn't the baby blues. There's a total difference. And that postpartum depression at times scared me. And little does anybody know, it scared me. Because during that postpartum depression, I had a lot of aggression and agitation and anger at the fact that I'm dealing with this. I'm supposed to enjoy my children when they're young And my depression got in the way of that when they were, the first 3 or 4 or 5 months, of motherhood. My second child wasn't as bad. Both my girls, though, have taken different paths, and, completely. But we won't get into that. Well, I want to say everybody know that I am still here and I'm still standing regardless. I did get on a new medication that I probably should have been taking all along, but I decided I didn't need it, and I probably did. And it finally brought me to a stable kind of area at this point where I can actually speak about that. But I do have not only bipolar depression and bipolar mania and all that good stuff. I have PTSD, and I deal with that here and there. I also have intermittent explosive disorder. I was diagnosed with that 3 or 4 years ago. And that is where I just don't understand what causes me to explode. And sometimes it's the tiniest of things that mean, nothing to somebody, but something to me. So there's triggers, and then the triggers tend to bring on the episodes. Stress is huge for me. Job-wise, I've had hard times with that. Finding the low stress job that I need, the routine job, the set schedules, the no shift work for me, that's for sure. So I've learned over the past, over the many years that I have been diagnosed certain things, certain triggers, but never recognized that the work I choose can be high stress. Being a cook in food and beverage, highest stress job you probably could ever have at times. But it never really dawned on me that my job was causing my episodes, even in customer service. Customer service, didn't even realize I was there, So my life is taking a turn, and I'm sitting here, and I need to figure out, what my next steps are. And I wanted to share this with everyone because I think mental illness is huge. I think it's a huge issue for a lot of people. And I think in today's society, more children are being diagnosed with a mental illness of some sort. And it's not in our heads. It is what it is. It's something that we sometimes have no control over, although I will always take accountability for actions that I have done while in an episode, unless I kind of don't remember it. But there are certain things I don't remember, and there are certain things I do. But let's just focus on ending the stigma to mental illness and bringing forward help in a shoulder and some kindness, because we don't know what happens behind closed doors. What's happening to that person in their head, what's going on in their life, what is causing them to act this way, why are they that way, why are they mean, why are they nasty, why are they whatever. It's hard to be kind for me when somebody makes a rude comment or something like that. I have a hard time controlling myself, but I'm learning, and I'm still learning. Today, I'm still learning. And the more education I give myself and research that I do for myself, the more I get to know me and in my struggles in my life, because I've had many. And the struggles were always real, If there's one thing I am, and always will be, is honest. And for those I hurt or for those I've done anything to, sorry for that. But I also want you to know that I also love deeply. And I have a lot of compassion for people who struggle with this. And all I can say to anybody out there is educate yourselves on mental illness, on the different types of mental illness, on what the causes of mental illness can be. And pay attention to your children, because kids manifest so differently sometimes. Yet, we need to pay attention to the kids and what they're going through. And let's not blame the parent for a child who's acting out. Yes, sometimes that child is spoiled rotten. Absolutely. But there are times that child is so out of control, we blame the parent. And that parent struggles just as hard to get that child under control. Imagine being a 10-year-old with bipolar disorder. If you educated yourself on exactly what bipolar disorder is, you'd probably understand a little bit more about why certain people and certain children act the way they do. And by no means, we just needed the support. I think a lot of people out there need support without judgment and without criticism. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. No judgments here, okay? But anyway, if anybody, I'm gonna come back to you guys again later and give you a little more insight into mental illness and what I have, which is bipolar disorder, other words, manic depression, and how to deal with a family member or a friend who has it. Or how I deal with it, and sometimes it's not so good. So I'm not a doctor. I don't, diagnose anybody. But if you need an ear or a shoulder or a, anyone to lean into, message me, and I'll be more than happy to give you some support. And so if you're dealing with any sort of mental illness, anxiety, depression, ADHD, PTSD, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, anything like that, feel free. If you need to speak it up, you need to speak, you need to talk, you need to vent, you need to do anything, I'm available. Just message me. I'm around. And let's all end a stigma here. But it's going to take a while, I think. The world still hasn't come to full circle with it. So, but anyway, we'll be talking to you soon, and I'll be back with a little more information. End of day today, maybe. Bye, guys.